And the Hangout on air is live. Um, I don't know, and your picture is not coming in real clear either. Um, do you see me clearly?
I can see you very clearly. I can
Okay.
see you very clearly.
Okay. So sometimes when that happens, um, the video will come out fine. It's just that I don't physically see you clearly during the broadcast. So hopefully that's anyway. We are live.
Okay.
Um, I don't see any viewers, but I never know if that's accurate or not. So let me just say welcome to the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. Um, we are going to wait a few minutes and see if any other people come to join our conversation. And if not, then Venita, you and I are it. And we'll just have our conversation.
You are freezing. I can't hear. I know
Oh,
you're freezing. I can't actually hear anything you're saying. I can't hear you at all. You're just freezing.
is it delayed or is it not coming through at all?
Sometimes it's delayed. Most times it wasn't coming through at all. You're just with the screen would freeze and you hear nothing.
Hmm. Um, I don't know. I was thinking about setting up another page, but I don't think that's going to work it because I can see the internet button, the um, changing strength. You know how it shows you how strong the signal is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's sometimes it's on full strength and it's wavering and going down toward the middle. So I think even if I open up another Hangout, it's not going to change that. You know?
No, it doesn't will affect the internet, the strength of the signals.
Yeah. Hmm.
We'll have to do the best we can.
Huh?
We'll just have to do the best we can.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping. You know, we were fine in the beginning, so
Yes, we are.
I'm hoping it's just going through something for a minute and is going to straighten itself out.
Is it windy out there today?
I don't think so much. No, just cold.
It's windy here, very windy sometimes. It'll bother your signals.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's why I asked.
Hmm.
Come on, Gio.
So I noticed today that Joel joined Google. He has not been one of my social media friends, so I noticed he's on Google now. Um, so hopefully he'll find his way here. Hmm. I don't
I
know.
wonder if Gio's got a problem getting in or something. She usually does it.
Did you
What's
have
only
any issues?
6:34?
Yeah.
So, it was perfect. 2 seconds. I was there
Mhm.
today.
Good.
So.
today is the first time
Very good.
that, oh, now we have one viewer. It says, oh, they dropped out. Today's the first time that, when I first do the event on Google, um, it it gives you a screen, and that's supposed to be where the Hangout takes place. And today is the first time that we're able to actually use that, because every other time there's some glitch going on, and it hasn't worked, and I end up setting up another Hangout just before broadcast time. So maybe it's still a glitchy page. And there does seem to be one viewer coming in and out. But I don't know. I've got 636. What do you say? 640, 645? There's Geo.
I think we may have a little problem tonight, Michelle, because you're freezing up and I can hardly hear anything that you say.
Yeah. Well.
Is that Geo? She changed her picture.
See if you and Geo can hear each other.
Okay.
Hey. Hey, I'm doing fine. How are you, Venita? You look nice.
Thank you. So nice to see you.
You too. You too. Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Can you hear me, Geo?
Yeah, I can hear you too.
Okay, and Kim is here now. Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Kim.
Hey, guys.
My internet is not on full strength, and it's going up and down from full strength to mid strength, which is causing some freezing. So Venita and I were sitting here trying to figure out what, if anything, to do about it. I don't know what to do about it.
Now I hear you very clearly.
Yeah, like I said, I think it is just going to go in and out on me, but I think that the video is probably going to be fine, except maybe when I'm talking, which hopefully I won't do a whole lot of.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Oh.
What y'all laughing about?
Nothing.
I'm talking out, Gio. I'm talking out, girl.
Oh. Well, Venita and I have been sitting here since 6 o'clock, and we've had some excitement.
Sounds like I missed something.
A white man by the name of Hayati, Hayati, came in the chat room, and he was looking all strange, laid back, kind of looked like he was laying down, and he wasn't saying anything, and he just had like a, wouldn't want to meet him in the back alley kind of look.
Oh my goodness. Oh no.
Then he showed us his bare feet, and and I was trying to say to him, "We can't hear you. Can you speak?" But his mouth wasn't moving, so he didn't appear to be trying to speak. And then the next thing you know, he waved his penis at us.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And it was small.
Not even a good show and tell, huh?
Not even a good show and tell, Gio. Okay?
Yes.
And that's what's so bad about it. If you're going to get your freak on, at least show us something that's real.
All right now. I agree. Make it worth it. Don't embarrass yourself and everybody else.
Yes.
Anyway, girl.
So he was
Pray
very
on it.
promptly ejected.
I'm sure.
And we have not seen him since. So, but this may be it for our group. I heard from Randie today. She had to work tonight.
Oh.
In fact, she said, I think she said every third Tuesday or something. For a while, they're scheduling her for a night assignment. So I don't know of anyone else that we're expecting, Venita. So you want to go ahead and get started?
Sure.
All right. The camera is on you.
Good evening. My name is Venita. Word that you're totally frozen. I can't hear anything. Are you hearing me?
We can hear you. I can hear you now. You started off a little frozen, but you look good
Wow.
now.
Okay, I can't hear Michelle at all. She's
Well,
just
Venita,
frozen.
you're the one talking. Well, I'm not talking.
Yes, I know you're not talking. I just want to make sure others can hear me while I'm
Okay.
speaking. Okay, so this evening we're going to summarize and discuss Chapter 1, Medical Apartheid, the Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present by Harriet Washington. We'll start off by introducing ourselves. Okay, who wants to introduce himself?
Hi, I'm Kim.
First.
Hi, I'm Kim. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Did I need to say more? Oh.
Well, I only heard you say, "Hi, I'm Kim."
That's it. Do I need to say something else? Do I need something else?
Oh, well, where are you from?
Oh, okay. I'm Kim. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I owe the group an apology. I didn't do the reading, but I showed up to the meeting anyway. So if you want me not to hang out, I can do that. I just finished a deadline, so I apologize. But I'm Kim, and I'm in Brooklyn. Don't be quiet.
Okay.
Venita, are you frozen?
I can't hear a thing.
Oh.
You can't hear anybody? Okay. Well,
I
let
just
me.
hear an echo. I can't make out a.
Did you hear Did you hear Kim? Oh,
I didn't even hear that.
now Venita has gone black. Hmm.
I see her now.
I see her.
You see her?
I only heard Kim's name, and I could. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't.
Her. I just. So
Okay.
really difficult to hear her.
Are you hearing me right now?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can hear you too. Uh-oh, we just lost. I lost Venita.
Yeah. It may have been her. I mean, I see my internet going in and out, but hers may be having an issue too. They have a lot of snow up there in her area, so
Oh,
that
wow.
might that might be part of the problem. Anyway,
Yeah.
it looks like we do have one viewer, so or two viewers. So let me say again, welcome to the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. My name is Michelle Odom. I'm one of the co-hosts of the group, and I am located in New York City. This evening, I'm broadcasting from Midtown East, and that may be a part of the problem. It's a heavily trafficked area, even though I would think at this hour, um, there would be less demand on the system, but we do seem to be going in and out. So let's 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 try to see what happens. It looks like Venita's coming back in.
Okay.
So Georgette, why don't you do your introduction?
Okay. My name is Gorgette Moses, and I'm participating from Columbia, South Carolina. And I'm glad we're on chapter 1. And I'm looking forward to it, our discussion tonight.
Venita, did you hear Georgette? Venita? Venita? Okay, well, I think maybe we should go ahead and get started because I really don't want to cancel tonight. After we canceled last week. Venita, just say something whenever you can hear us, which already pushes the schedule further out into June, which is okay, but I don't want to drag out this book forever. So I think if Venita is not able to come back in, then I will go ahead and moderate tonight's discussion. So, again, let me say for the video, welcome to Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. You can find us on Google Plus or YouTube or Facebook to learn more about how to get involved with the group. This is session 3, meaning it's our third book that we're reading, and this session is running from January 20th through June 9th, 2015. Venita, can you hear us yet? No, she's still. And the book that we're reading for this session is Medical Apartheid, The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present by Harriet A. Washington. So tonight, Venita Walker is scheduled to be the moderator of Chapter 1, but she's having technical difficulties and my signal is not particularly strong, so we're going to try to get through this. Venita, I see you moving. Can you hear us? Now? No? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Now it looks like you froze again.
I did go out and come back in.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
thinking maybe
really, I don't see anyone. I don't see you either.
the snow in your area is causing an issue.
Now I can't hear you.
Okay. Okay.
It could be, but I have a very strong signal, so I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you want me to go ahead and start the discussion? Okay, so everybody here knows our basic community rules. No, Kim, we do not want you to leave because you haven't read the chapter, even though that is one of the community rules. But actually, if you read the chapter summary that Venita wrote, you'll think you had read the chapter. That's a separate document, so you can look for that on our page. As always, anyone that doesn't want to be tagged, let me know. And um, and I think that's it for tonight. So Benita dropped out again. So let's go ahead and look at the agenda. I don't know if we need a timekeeper, but
Well,
does everybody have the agenda?
Yes.
the new one, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Does somebody want to read? Just read that summary there.
Okay, I'll go ahead and read it.
Okay.
Chapter 1, Southern Discomfort, Medical Exploitation on the Plantation. In Chapter 1, Southern Discomfort, Medical Exploitation on the Plantation, author Harriet A. Washington offers an overview of early medicine in the American South. She briefs readers on the beliefs, practices, and conditions in which doctors and African Americans encountered one another. She identifies the shared economic interests doctors held with planters and how this common bond undermined the health of and instilled the fear of medicine, or iatrophobia, in Black Americans, a fear that exists to this day. Primarily focused in the 17 and 1800s, this chapter describes the deplorable public health practices of the era, which only worsened circumstances for the enslaved population. We also learn a bit about scientific racism, or the use of scientific techniques and hypotheses to support or justify the belief in racism, racial inferiority, or racial superiority, or alternatively, the practice of classifying individuals of different phenotypes into discrete races. One doctor, for example, Josiah Knott, MD, theorized that the distinctive knee joint and long heel of the Black man proved he had been created as a submissive knee bender, a servant to whites. Another leading voice was that of Samuel A. Cartwright, MD, who identified conditions afflicting Blacks such as drapetomania, or an insane urge to escape from slavery. With pseudo-scientific and biblical justifications in place, planters and medical practitioners freed themselves to administer a series of inhumane treatments to cure a variety of real and imagined diseases and conditions. Fortunately, some enslaved people held on to African beliefs and practices which provided some relief for those who were ill, and often taught these skills to Western practitioners.
Okay. Thank you. Kim, would you read point A in question 1?
Sure. Enslavement could not have existed and certainly could not have persisted without medical science, asserts author Harriet A. Washington. Doctors offered assurances as to the fitness of people for work, both before and after sale into human bondage. As today, they diagnosed conditions, offered opinions, and prescribed treatments based upon their analysis. A growing body of medical literature advancing ideas in scientific race claim. Consider similarly labeling similarities between scientific labeling of black children and the current welfare to work system. In what ways have things changed, and in what ways have they stayed the same?
Okay. Anybody?
Wow, that's a good question. I'd have to say that the way I see it stayed the same is that there's still some collusion between the doctors or the medical, I would call it an entity, and the pharmaceutical companies and the legislators and media, and that's all driven by money. Because if the pharmaceutical company can finance the research and the outcome of the research, well, what choice do we have but to believe, that paper that they put out?
Right, right.
So if they come up with a study that says, well, black children or black males suffer from, particularly suffer from some kind of mental deficiency and require special education, or they require medication like ADHD, that's a label they put on black children, especially black males. And the only solution is a drug. Well, then they train the teachers to identify hyperactive children as, oh, you need a drug, and then they take the power away from the parent, just like they take, and during this time here, she's writing in the book, they took the power away from, well, the slaves had no power in the first place, but what they could secretively, administer whatever to themselves, but even today, we don't really have that much power because our legislators are swayed by money. And so who's there to defend an honest, research that could prove, well, it's not, this is not genetic, and it's really the environment that's causing, all of these symptoms, and stop drugging our kids, things like that. So.
Yeah, I very much agree. I think in terms, one thing that strikes me as similar is that behavior that black families might see as perfectly normal and perfectly appropriate and perfectly responsive to whatever conditions we're dealing with, can be seen so differently by people in different circumstances. So like the drapetomania, for example, or the insane desire to escape from slavery. So, I say all the time that where you stand depends upon where you sit. And I've probably said it here before, but I love the analogy of a baseball uh, field and the circle kind of arena where people are sitting all around. And if you stand up on this side of the arena and somebody else stands up on this side of the arena, both of you have a vision of what is happening down on the field, but your vision is different. And both of you are accurate in what you see, but you're seeing something different from a different angle. And so I think that happens a lot with blacks and whites in this country. So from the perspective of a slave, it seems perfectly normal and natural that you would want to do anything you could to escape that situation. And rather than defining you as insane, it would be a normal, appropriate response to your situation. But from the perspective of the slave master, that is insane behavior. And so that's what we've been dealing with, and I think that's what we're still dealing with our children in the school system. I posted something recently on Facebook. It was a white female teacher, white woman, and she was saying what black parents already know, that when black boys come into the classroom or white boys come in, when white boys come into the classroom and behave in the exact same ways as black boys, the white boys are considered leaders and intelligent and curious and oh, isn't little Johnny so energetic and playful? And the exact same behaviors in a black child are deemed, some kind of mental health problem for which you need to be medicated. And this was a white female teacher saying that this is what white women do. Well, black mothers have been knowing that, at least for as long as my kid was in school, 3 decades ago. But still, this is the kind of thing that we're dealing with. So I think that is very much the same. If anything has changed, I think it's the labels, the names, Instead of calling it drapetomania, we call it ADHD.
Right. It's same.
But very much the same kind of phenomena, I think. So, Kim, did you want to say anything on that one?
I guess I think it's similar in terms of what's not being taught to black children in school. And so the goal is to build prisons. And so if you're basing how many prison beds you build in terms of how many black boys are in 3rd grade, your goal then is not to teach them anything, but to get them ready to be incarcerated.
Right.
So it's the same thing. It's the same price on their head. Right. So the goal is just not to teach them at all. And I think it's bigger for me than the labels. It's just that it's just the disparity in terms of what happens in one classroom versus another. And I love what you said in terms of it's where you sit. Because you could just not see it. You could just not see it. So that's my comment.
Okay. And I guess, well, let's go on to the next part. I'll read that one. I am on question part B. Ominously for blacks, The owners, not the enslaved workers, determined safety and rationed medical care, deciding when and what type of care was to be given. Scientists also claimed that the primitive nervous systems of blacks were immune to physical and emotional pain and to mental
Wow.
illness, which released physicians and owners from the responsibility of shielding black slaves from painful medical procedures and justified torture such as branding, whipping, hobbling, and maiming. But most physicians shared the economic and political interest of slave owners and conspired with planters, their real clients, to subjugate slaves by invading their bodies. So let's see, there are three questions here. Let's see. Any preferences? If we choose one of those questions, any preferences there? Okay, let's start with question 2. Why does the author characterize the role of slave owners as ominous, where safety and medical care were concerned? Well, I guess I would say, especially for Kim's benefit, um, she's really describing it as ominous for slaves, because the planters or slave owners, so-called slave owners, I hate the term slave, and I hate the term slave owner, because it just feels to me like giving in to a relationship, to a designation that is just so wrong. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent.
That's okay.
But it was ominous for black people because the planters' interest was not the their only interest was whether or not you were healthy enough to get back out on the field and work, and so whatever the enslaved person said about how they were feeling just didn't matter. And so it was the slave owners and the doctors who determined whether or not the the enslaved people were able to work. And so, obviously that meant a lot of people had to work while they really were not feeling up to it. They had to work through all kinds of conditions, and if they really couldn't work, then that was cause for a beating or some kind of torture. So so it was bad news to have other people making the decision about how you feel, and it's bad news today.
Yes, I agree. Mm.
Yeah. You want to add anything on that point, Georgette?
Well, it kind of sounds like what's been going on in football. Not that I'm a big football fan, but definitely to see how long it's taken for the NFL to even recognize that concussions cause all these other symptoms, suicides and violent behavior in their players, when they're just concerned with, okay, let's shoot them up and get them back on the field,
Right.
And then I think they made some kind of settlement, but that's not even enough to even satisfy the tip of, a small percentage of the families who are affected by what's happened to all their loved ones who've been involved in the game. That's still one of our modern day plantations is the football field.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. Yeah.
I
Okay.
think for me,
Uh-huh.
um, it's what comes to mind is that a lot of African women were breeders, and they would decide who you could have a child with, in addition to your own body. And a lot of the um, plantation owners, they would impregnate the African women so that they could just make more money. So they were actually enslaving their own blood, their own kin. So I don't know what's more ominous than that.
Yeah.
But and then they would sell those too. So,
Yes.
yuck.
Yes. There's also Harriet Washington also talks about how to punish pregnant women. See, they would accuse you of things like malingering or trying to get out of work, and so if you were being punished for something like that and you were pregnant, they would dig a hole in the dirt big enough to accommodate your belly, because supposedly if you whipped a pregnant woman, on her back while she was laying in the dirt, her baby would not be harmed. Um, which I just thought was crazy, even from the perspective of um, if you think of that baby as your property, and and you want to get some work value out of the baby, then why you would take the risk of beating a pregnant woman, But the whole thing about this chapter um, is really painting a picture of what the culture and the medical practices were in the 17 and 1800s. So, so there were a lot of things like um, not washing your hands, operating with dirty instruments, a lot of things that they did back then that certainly don't make any sense to us now. So, yeah. It looks like Venita is still trying to get back in. I see her picture, but not her face. Um, on question 3, how does today's Medicaid system perpetuate the historic role of American physicians in the lives of poor people? How does today's Medicaid system, which of course is an insurance plan for poor people, how does today's Medicaid system perpetuate this historic role of American physicians in the lives of poor people? Venita, are you in?
I can hear you, but I can't see anyone.
Okay, well, we can hear you, so if you want to chime in, please do. I guess we'll have to set you up to moderate another night.
I'm sure.
Well, I may be the expert here on personal experience with Medicaid, and but I have been talking a lot. So if anyone else wants to approach that question, please do.
Well, I know it's money driven. It's still money driven, and it's still, a way to control what kind of health care poor people have access to, because you can't really choose your doctors. And then some doctors, they won't take it because they don't pay enough.
Right.
So if you really need some kind of specialized treatment, well, you're just stuck with whatever Medicaid is going to pay for. And then you're still having to pay, I believe it still comes out of whatever money that you get. You still have to pay a portion.
Mm-hmm.
And but for what kind of care? What kind of medical care is that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um,
I think for me,
huh?
I think for me,
Kim,
yeah, it seems like, can you hear me?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. It seems like there was some workshop on where the money in Medicaid really goes, and it's all of these companies that have hustles. They have these hustles, and they pull as much money out as possible so that you don't get any care. So here you have that same plantation owner mentality of how can I get the most money out of the fact that this poor person has this card.
Right.
And that's the way I see it, because when I only get 10 minutes to see my doctor, and if I need something I have to come back again, like he won't do two things in one visit because there's not enough money for him.
Mm-hmm.
It
Wow.
just sounds like all of a sudden somebody's spending a whole lot of time coming up with this hustle as opposed to putting the money into Medicare, into
Right.
medical care.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
We're being hoodwinked.
again, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and just as doctors were building their fortunes on the misery of slaves in the 17 and 1800s, um, we are still um, a a source. I do have some good news that I wanted to share with you guys, and I figured it would come up some kind of way in the discussion. So I don't know. I guess I'll plug it in here. But anyway, the good news is I moved last Friday, so I am no longer homeless.
Okay.
And actually, I'm in Brooklyn, Kim.
I
And
didn't know that was the situation. Where
uh,
in Brooklyn? Oh, you can tell me later.
well, in
Tell
the
me where you are later.
in the Ocean Hill section of Bed-Stuy. And
Nice,
yeah, and it's a brand new building. Um, yeah, nice, nice. So,
nice.
um, but it's a nice building, and it has an elevator, it has security, and all of that. But the amount of rent that
Oh.
they are charging the system for this tiny little space is
Mm.
it boggles the mind. But that seems to be how the whole
Mhm.
medical industrial complex or nonprofit industrial complex seems to be benefiting these days from poor people um, for relatively little service, like Kim was saying, you know one visit, and they don't want to do two things. So that means you, the client, has to
Mm.
go running around to multiple appointments because they don't mind wasting your time and energy. As long as they can do another billing. Um, so anyway, it's pretty ugly, but it is an old system. It's where we are. Um, can you still hear us, Venita? Can you speak?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, did you want to say anything on question 3?
Yeah, I agree with Kim. All of you actually. I have a friend of mine is actually dealing with that now. She lost her job. She's single. There's nothing offered to single folks. Now she's on Medicaid. She's suffering from fibromyalgia, which is not understood by many doctors. She has to go to a doctor, unemployed, no money, and he wants her to pay cash. And he is among the best, and there are only a few that are knowledgeable about fibromyalgia. So now she's out in the cold, dealing with pain because they will not accept.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're losing you.
It's called the Husky Plan, where yeah, called the Husky Plan, where 90% of the doctors are not on the plan.
Mhm.
Wow.
Mhm.
So
And that's
she's
the
pretty much
Husky plan?
out in the cold. They have a few doctors on their list of doctors, and she can't.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think I lost you.
Yeah, you're freezing again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what she's dealing with.
Okay,
Venita,
so
you called it the
Yeah,
Husky
I
plan?
think it might be the snow here. We have feet and feet. So.
Oh my goodness.
yeah,
Excuse me?
it's okay. We're gonna move on to question 4.
I think
Um,
we're going perfect.
imagining medical care. Question 4. Imagining medical care inside America's burgeoning prison system, and considering today's police state, do you think black prisoners or suspects are treated any better than were the enslaved population? Why or why not?
Oh boy. I think Kim started us off on that. It was a great reason why they're the new guinea pigs for everything.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's money. They have a captive population they can experiment on. Um, I was watching something on Free Speech TV where they had, I think, some jail in the Midwest was the mother was complaining because they're all privatized prisons. And so her son, who needed, I don't know, medication for his liver or kidney, something like that, they wouldn't give him the medication, and they wouldn't let the doctor see him. And even though they were supposed to, but who can, you can't make them do what they don't feel they want to do if it's not cost effective for them. And so, he's just another number. And if he dies and he can't go to their little sweatshop, that day and make $1.25, oh well,
Mhm.
and I was surprised to learn that there there are so many industries are inside of the prison system.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh
From
yeah.
yes, from help desk, customer service,
Mhm.
what is it, marketing.
Mhm.
They're doing electronic work, all
Mhm.
kinds of stuff that people out here on the outside, they're looking for these jobs. They're
Right.
qualified for these jobs. But if you can get the prisoners to do it, and, you've got some legislator to sign off on it, yeah, this is saving money, those useless criminals, they're not doing anything anyway. Take the TVs away and put them to work. But there are people out here who are suffering, need the benefits, need that extra income, can't get these jobs because they've made a deal with these corporations. It's just,
Well,
it's
it
just
seems
sickening.
like everybody is just being pushed toward the prison system. You know,
Yeah.
either as an employee of it, or more likely as a resident in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we don't seem to be really doing anything about what people on the outside need. You
Mm,
know, I don't know.
that's true.
Yeah. So, Kim, did you want to say anything on that question?
Like the thing that scares me the most is that I read somewhere that the largest growth in prison population is African American women.
Yeah,
Whoa.
So it's coming for us too. It's coming.
Oh.
absolutely, absolutely. You know, because when you can't find work, um, you're a hop, skip. You're not even a hop, skip, and a jump. You're a hop away from becoming a
Yeah.
criminal. And just like they can predict, uh, the trajectory of a third grader and figure
Hmm.
out how many prisons they need to build, they can look at the unemployment rate
Mhm.
and figure out what the needs are going to be. But I just think they're counting on um, their 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 whoever they is are counting on our not being able to um, make a living wage. Um, because it has become so profitable, profiting on the misery and poverty um, of masses and masses of people. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
but I think also in terms of the question that when we look at the sort of astronomical rate of men and women, boys and girls, um, being killed by the police.
Ooh.
Um, I mean, it's hard for me to really tell if it really. I mean, I do think there has been a significant increase since Obama has been in office, but at the same time, I'm aware that there have always been um, police killings of black people
Mhm.
with no consequence to the police. So, this question of do black lives matter? Um, certainly, certainly from the system's point of view, for as long as we have been in this country, we have been treated as if black lives do not matter. And that started in the slave system and and to a large degree still goes on. So I do not think that prisoners or suspects, I'm thinking about that college professor out west somewhere. Was it about 6 months or so ago? That was walking. Maybe it was Arizona. Was walking. There was some construction happening on the sidewalk, so she walked into the middle of the street and the cops stopped her and that turned into a beating and
Wow.
and I mean here's this articulate professional woman and that's how quickly it can turn. So
Mhm.
um so people are not taking the time to actually see us. um the one of the this is another tangent, but I have to go on this one, Georgette. Um,
Okay. You have our permission. Go ahead.
Yeah.
there's that quote. Let me read it again. It's a part of the summary um, that says one doctor, for example, Josiah Knott, MD, theorized that the distinctive knee joint and long heel of the black man proved he had been created as a submissive knee bender, a servant to whites.
Crazy. Now that's the insanity. Not the other stuff.
Yes, that's insanity. But that's that's what we've been dealing with. And I mean, we see it very clearly, I think, in black-white relationships. But if you even think of any kind of relationship, a romantic relationship, a professional relationship, even a friendship, where people just project an image onto you, and
Yes.
and then really seem to expect you to live up to it.
Yes.
And this is why the idea of authenticity is so important to me, because I have always been trying to both develop and stay connected to my own image of myself, because I have seen throughout my life that what other people want for me or see in me is very often not what I want or see for myself. And it's very easy. I mean, how self-serving is it to look at somebody and say, you were born to be a perpetual knee bender?
It relieves them of all responsibility, moral, ethical, religious. God said, and look, your knee is just that way.
That long heel.
What is it? Oh my God.
You know what's even funnier to me?
What?
That they had to go out and find that one black man with that long bone. They were walking around saying, I found him! I found a long bone! That's right there on paper now. That's right that paper now.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
It's insane. But this is what happens, all the time. Boyfriends, when they come with their image of what a girlfriend should be.
Yes.
And I just wonder, where do you people get these things? So,
I don't mean to harp on this. Please forgive me for harping on this. But when he said, I think in the introduction of the book, and they were talking about he wanted to get a girl slave, and he found a mulatto. Once this person has your blood, I just think that that's the most insane thing I've ever heard of, is that you're saying that one drop of black blood, even if it's your white blood 90% and one drop of black blood, turns that person that comes from your DNA into a knee bender. It just boggles my mind. It really does.
yeah.
So, you are now officially a knee bender. I'm mixing my sperm with knee bending people.
But my sperm doesn't count. My blood doesn't count.
Because that's where that first knee bending bone came from his sperm.
Well.
Okay. Oh.
Okay.
All right, Kim, you got that off your chest.
Okay,
it's all right. It's all right.
Whose turn is it to read? I think it's your turn, George.
I think it's mine.
Okay. C. One complaining woman was treated with a cow skin or hickory switch to scourge her. Other doctors recommended that an owner apply 9 drops of essence of rawhide or oil of hickory to the back of a sick slave. Question number 5. Cow skin and hickory were sometimes used as remedies for enslaved people accused of malingering or playing games to get out of work. Today, we acknowledge there are many illnesses that are chronic and invisible, such as lupus, for example. Do you find that people today are typically compassionate towards someone who claims an invisible illness, or do we tend to still suspect them of playing games, being dramatic, or severely exaggerating their condition? Do you want me to read all the questions and then we just pick one?
No, let's work on question 5.
Okay.
Oil of hickory.
That's crazy. 9 drops of essence of rawhide. What does that mean exactly? That's like 2 ounces of silver steel in your bag. What?
This is what the doctors were prescribing.
God. No, you know that's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
I do, but I'm sitting on the same side of the baseball arena with you, Gorgette. It looks crazy to me. Shoot. What's the question? Do you find that people today are typically compassionate? No, I do not. I think we very much still don't understand. I mean, I think we're doing better as a society. I do. But I still think there's a lot of room for improvement in terms of our capacity to be sensitive and understanding toward people that that may be suffering. I mean, I've told you guys about my situation with carbon monoxide poisoning, and it wasn't something you could see. If you looked at me, I looked pretty much like I look now, and but it's not how I felt. But there are a lot of conditions where you can't physically see the evidence. But I always felt like as I was going through that situation that I'd have been so much better off with a bullet hole in my stomach. Because that seems to be what the American medical system is set up to handle. Things that you can physically see. If you can see it, then they seem to have some idea of what maybe they can do to fix it. But when it's one of these kind of chronic or invisible conditions, it's very difficult to get professional help. And it's very difficult to get even any compassion from your family and friends. That's been my experience. Anybody else?
I think it depends on where you're sitting in the stadium
and
what kind of coverage you have, what kind of medical insurance coverage you have. I think those are the questions that change the answer dramatically.
That's an excellent point. I have to admit, this question gave me PTSD. Oh my God. When I was first diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, my primary physician recognized it right away. She was great. But then I had to go through a whole long rigmarole of going to specialists everywhere, who they wanted to send me to. And one guy, he was a white guy, and he said, this looks like fibromyalgia to me, and he's poking me all over. I'm like, okay, what do I do next? Well, we're going to do some more tests. and nothing came of that. So I actually opened up my insurance, list of the rheumatologists. I'm like, I'm just picking one, and let's hope he knows what he's doing. So fortunately, I found a doctor. He's like 50 miles away, but he's good. And all the care, everybody there is good because they realized, this is an autoimmune disease. We've been doing, not to mention that it's very lucrative. It's a lucrative illness. Because I'm looking at, the benefit sheets that come from my insurance, and I'm like, I can't pay that. And I'm sure when they sold my insurance, they're like, yeah, you need these and this infusion and stay here longer. You're never getting well, But at work, before I finally retired, I had to go through, oh my God, and these were people who on the surface you thought they were just nice and, gung-ho. And I'm talking about military and civil service people here. And so you expect a sort of mindset, but it wasn't. All of a sudden, oh, I heard that lazy nigga. I'm sure. And I'm like, no, they
said what?
They said that lazy nigga. Yes,
oh my God, what?
And then one guy made it a habit of walking down the hallway singing Kanye West's "She Ain't Nothing But a Gold Digger." And I'm like, I didn't know this white guy knew the song. Okay, he was really singing. Yeah, he was on tune and everything, but that was just to try to get me to quit before I got all my benefits. But they didn't know who I was. So this black sister, go hang in there, okay?
Yeah, good.
But you never know. And one thing that was just so ridiculous was one guy actually came and said, my brother had rheumatoid arthritis and they gave him shots and he's just fine today. And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm looking at him saying, okay, that's fine, that's beautiful, and thinking to myself, what makes you think that every person is going to respond to the same medical, remedy? Okay, that's your brother. You whole different set of gene pools and environmental exposures. Okay, they don't even really know what causes many of these diseases. So it's all just really Frankenstein experiment. Well, they'll throw the newest drug at you today because that's what came out and that's what they've been pushed to sell on you, and see if it works. If it doesn't, moving on to the next one. So no matter if you're going to lose your liver or kidneys later because you have to take all these different pills and concoctions. So it's just really it's sad because if you're not in that position or you haven't had a family member or a friend or someone that you've seen what they go through and how you can't discern everything that's an illness. Even the doctors don't know everything, just by looking at you or taking the test, because some tests, if it's not specific, you never pick up what the disease is.
Exactly.
So we all need a little bit more, need to give each other the benefit of the doubt, because mistakes have been made and people have died or gone without the proper care and insurance that they needed because they were really ill,
Yes.
So.
Well, I see why that question gave you PTSD.
Oh, Lord, it took me years and years to stop hating some of them folks, okay? I had to really, it wasn't no come to Jesus moment. It's like, I need because Jesus ain't helping me now because I want to blow up these boys. So maybe Jesus was there and he's like, I know, it'll be okay. Just hang in there. I'll get you out. Oh, Lord, it was bad.
Well, I'm still working on it.
All right, I feel for you. For you.
I mean, a part of that is I have always said to myself, as long as I am homeless, I am not even thinking about forgiving anybody.
Okay. All right.
I got bigger problems.
All right.
So, since I can't cry the homeless song anymore, I guess maybe after a bit I'll have to see. But no, I don't know I've got this whole thing around love, and in fact, hopefully, I'm going to start the Revolutionary Love Leadership series on Google Hangout in the near future. But really, I don't know how we ever um, get to a place of real love as long as we are thinking that it's okay to try to judge another person's experience. Yes, some people are going to be lazy, some people are going to be malingering, some people are going to be gold diggers, some people are going to be all of that. But we simply don't have the skills. We simply don't have the power to see what is really going on internally with people. And human beings are so incredibly complex. And just like you said, Georgette, just because something worked for one person doesn't mean it's going to work for another person. And so this whole business of thinking that we are, I don't know, smart enough or somehow capable of judging other human beings is just a really nasty, nasty problem among humanity that has apparently gone on from the beginning of time, and we don't seem any closer to letting go of it yet. But I mean, these are doctors back there, drapetomania and hebatude and
Yes.
the Ethiopica, all this madness, you know, because because you had some degrees, or you had studied that supposedly gave you the power to pass these judgments, and so we still have a world where we want to believe that because someone has a certain set of credentials, um, that they're always right. But my experience is that is not true. That is not true, because even with all of their credentials, there are some things that they still can't see. That my experience was like yours, Georgette, where I learned that um, it seems that I mean, I don't really know how the process worked, but what it seemed like to me from a patient's perspective was if I go in to the doctor and I'm complaining of X, Y, and Z, he takes a guess about what that might be and sends me out for tests for A, B, and C. Um, and so the technicians that do the test are looking for A, B, and C. Now, maybe what I have is M, N, and O,
Right.
but they weren't ordered to test for M, N, and O. And so, so I don't get served. I don't get help.
Yeah.
And so, maybe if you have a lifetime to go to doctors and have every possible test done, then they can hone in on what your chronic or illness or invisible illness might be. But I think there's a whole lot of stuff that's being missed. Venita, Venita. Okay, I guess she still can't.
Yes.
We are
Can
on.
you hear me?
Yeah, we're on question 4. Did you want to say anything about lupus, maybe?
Question 5 is question 5.
Oh, question 5.
Okay, 1 second.
I was just saying it's hard to get compassion even from medical personnel. Huh?
No, I'm listening to you.
No, I was just trying to see if you wanted to add anything.
Do I find that people today are more...
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is that you're going in and out. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you okay.
I believe sometimes people are compassionate and sometimes they're not. Okay, sometimes I find that some folks are compassionate, but for the most part, if your illness is not visible,
We lost you. I lost you.
Um,
Can you hear Georgette? Can you hear Venita?
no, she froze up and then she went back to the little avatar.
Okay. Oh, well, that's her topic.
Yes, yes. I was so happy to see her come in just as we were discussing.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, maybe we can come back to it when she comes back on.
yeah. I will say she has done well with the doctors that she has found to work with that.
Mhm.
So that's good. At least they recognize what she has and have therefore um, you know been able to kind of guide her healing.
Yes, that's extremely important.
Yeah, yeah. Um, who was reading? Georgette, you were reading?
Okay, yeah, that was me.
Okay.
So you want me to go to the next question?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, number 6. Are we more likely to believe a white person or a black person who claims to suffer a chronic and invisible illness?
Hmm.
Hmm. Mine says already. Sadly, we're going to believe the white person because we have been indoctrinated and conditioned to believe that all the black people are malingerers.
Yeah.
And then what's bad is you even question yourself because you've already have the mindset that you need to work twice as hard to get half as far. And so you're like, well, if I give in to this, what do they think? No, you was sick, you hurt, go get some help. And we can't even help ourselves, give ourselves that benefit of the doubt, that love and caring, because we're worried about what somebody else is thinking.
Yeah.
It's bad. We need some
Yeah.
help. We need some real help.
My mother was one of those people that, hardly ever missed a day of work in her life. I'm not the one though. I tend to listen to whatever my body is telling me. If it's telling me I need a mental health break, then I take it.
Which is probably a good thing because we don't want to see you on the news with an AK-47, okay?
No, you will not see me with an AK-47. I believe in taking care of Shelley. But did y'all see that story about that man walking 42 miles a day round trip to his factory job?
No.
No.
How long did that walk take?
For real. About the time he was about to go to bed, it was time to get up and start again.
Yes. 21 miles there and 21. And he has been doing this for years because his car broke down and, he didn't want to lose his job. And so when the public heard about it, I think a white man, a young man, set up a GoFundMe account, and now he's raised like $50,000 or $100,000 or something like that, like overnight,
Great.
because people wanted to get him a car. But he has been doing this for years. All I can say is, it would not be me. I am not. I am not
No.
that concerned about what people think about me. If they think I'm a lazy malingerer, it's okay.
Michelle, like, yo, I ain't coming in no more.
That's it. It's over. It's over. I can't make it to work.
No, man. I'm going to have to get the 9 drops of oil for you.
Oh, that's why I tell you I would not have survived as a slave. I couldn't do it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So, but I remember this one job that I was on, where there was a white woman, a young woman who had lupus, and whenever she said she wasn't feeling well, said she couldn't make it to work, the boss was just like so concerned and sympathetic and oh, go and take care of yourself and all of that. But whenever one of the black people, and I was one of the um, department directors there, and there were a couple of other black people that were department directors. When any of us were not well, it was a whole different story. Like, well, when you getting back to work?
all right. Oh, come on. You can take some medicine and come on in. We really It's not that bad. Put your eye back in.
Yes.
Tape on it. Come on in. You can work with one eye.
Yes. No, something's wrong with this picture. Something is wrong with this picture. So
Oh my God.
that's how it is. Let's look at question 7, Gorgette.
Okay.
Because it's almost 8 o'clock. I knew we weren't going to be able to get through all of this.
Okay. Bring Me That Hickory Switch is something many black people living today recall hearing during childhood. How can we be sure when we spank our children, we are not helping to perpetuate practices taught to us by slave masters?
That's a great question.
It sure is. It sure is.
Because we got the whip. We got the switch. I mean, we were coming up, we got the switch.
Mhm. Mhm. My mother liked the switch.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess for me, the answer to that question is um, we actually are helping to perpetuate practices taught to us by slave masters. Um, so I don't think that we can be sure that we're not doing that. I mean, children tend to give the impression that they need some discipline. Um, I have a grown son, and I used to say to him, "You begging for it, aren't you?"
I relate.
It is hard to see their behavior as anything other than just come on and whoop me.
Oh my
But I do think really, I do think at some point we need to really think about where some of these behaviors and attitudes that we have toward each other, including our children, where they come from. Venita was saying earlier today that her grandmother used to always use the word malingering, you know. And I wasn't around my grandparents very much, so I don't know. I don't think my parents used that word, but my mother would pull a hickory switch on you, you know. And I think we just, we have to start forcing ourselves to be conscious of what we're doing and why we're doing it. And figuring out, if there's some other way to accomplish the same goal. If it's instilling a lesson, if it's administering discipline, how do we learn other ways of doing those things? Because I think we don't really know what damage we're doing. So
That's true. That's very true.
yeah, it's one of the images that I included in the highlights video for this week. It's an illustration. It's the one that has the naked person with, I'm not sure if it's a man or a woman really, but I was trying to give that image of the pregnant woman with her belly in the dirt and being whipped. Well, the person holding the whip is a black man. And and I think we have to come to grips with how we have learned to treat each other, including our children. But as I have been on this cultural journey, honestly, it feels like I got picked up by a starship and shipped off to an island, to a space somewhere in space. I can't even describe half the stuff I've seen. But for the most part, it was black people. It was black people that were treating other black people in ways that are just really cruel, and ways that they certainly would not want to be treated themselves. And I just, I think we have to really get in the habit of thinking about what damage has been done to us as a result of our experiences as black people in this country, and how we have learned to be so hurtful toward each other, and how our powerlessness seems to have created this need to express power whenever and wherever and however we can. And very often the only opportunity that we have to express power is over another black person who has been made vulnerable in some way, by imprisonment, by homelessness, poverty. And so, it just adds another layer of hurt and oppression when when it is a black person that seems to be taking actual pleasure in in being hurtful to vulnerable people. So, you know, a lot of this comes out of our slave experience, and it's time for it to stop.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
So, I have 8:04. Why don't we call it a night? Because you know this is these are a lot of good questions, I think, but they'll come up in different ways throughout the reading. And it's the technology tonight has just been so off. Hopefully by next Tuesday, in fact this Thursday, the internet should get installed in my new home.
All right.
So
Okay.
hopefully by next week I will be broadcasting from that location, and you know, and the signal will be good. That's the idea. So thank you, everyone.
I have a question.
Yes,
I had volunteered to moderate next time, chapter 2.
yes.
So what does that entail?
That entails, if you look at tonight's agenda,
Uh-huh.
um, really creating that document.
Oh, Kim. You can do it. You can do it, Kim.
Okay.
Why are you
This is not good.
laughing? Why are you laughing like that, Kim?
Oh my God, that's like real. Oh my God. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, let me tell you all. Venita has gotten on my nerves these last couple of weeks, and I did have to do some work to kind of put this together. And you know, and I'm willing to do that. Here's the thing: I create the videos that do the chapter highlights.
Uh-huh.
So that means I have to read the chapter, um, you know, very thoroughly and take my own notes and to figure out what I want to put into the video. So once I have done that, it's really not a problem for me helping anybody to put the agenda together. Mostly what I want you guys to do is to be able to add your own questions to kind of lead the direction that the discussion goes in. Because no matter what the book is, the discussion can go in many different directions. Like when Gorgette does questions, you know, she comes up with stuff I would never come up with. She comes up with really great questions. I think she's the best thinker
Oh no.
that yeah, because really that's what thinking is about. And so you know, so that's mostly what I want other people to contribute. So don't be
I'll do that. And when do I have to have it to you by?
well, the sooner the better. Especially if you think you're going to want me to do something to it.
So how about
Um,
Sunday?
that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right,
Yeah.
then I can do that. I can do
Okay.
that. It just looks so well put together. What Venita has done. I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll be fine, Kim. The great questions and answers you have when we do our meetings, you'll be fine.
Yes.
Okay, so,
Yes.
so I just find reading this to be so hard. It's just like I read one sentence and it stopped me for 20 minutes.
I understand. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, when I finally did finish the book, um, and so as I go back into the chapters to create the highlight videos, um, I'm finding that it's a lot easier to read the second time around, and also a lot less emotionally painful. Like the second reading, I kind of have been laughing at a lot of stuff with Venita, like the perpetual knee bender. The first time you read those kind of things, you're angry.
Yes. Yes.
But after a while, it is just like, I can't believe these things that people really, got away with some of this madness. So, um, you'll get through it. But I would say this book is like a graduate level kind of book. Where's Joel? Have you heard from him?
Oh, he had a family emergency. His mom was ill, so he had to go up to North Carolina to see about her. So hopefully,
Oh, sorry to hear that.
yeah.
Yeah. So okay, but Kim, you have my phone number.
No, I don't.
Um,
Did you want to text it to me, or I could call? What do you want?
yeah. We're Facebook friends, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll message you on Facebook.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
See
have
you
a
all
good
next.
night.
Huh?
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I was saying good night. I thought someone else said something.
Oh no. Okay. Good night, everybody. I will see you all next week on the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle, reading our story together.
All
Good
Yeah.
night.
right. Good night.
Good
Have a good
night.
week, ladies.
You
You
too.
too.
Okay.
Bye.